So Taylor right now is spraying down the van, making sure we're getting all of the metal shavings off. We did, oh shoot.
Oh, good.
So we just sprayed the inside of the van. What's up everybody, this is Kevin from Mathers on the Map, and today we are going to cover our 5th episode of the van build. If you don't know already, we are documenting every single project that we do for this van build in our YouTube van build series. So let's get right into today's episode on changing or creating a hole in the sliding door and installing the sliding door T-vent window by CRL. So let's get right into it. Alright, so today's tools needed for the job is relatively simple compared to the other windows we installed, which are our 2 back door windows as well as the side panel bunk windows. This window and the sliding door is going to be a lot easier, and I'll explain why. Just in terms of the tools, we're not going to need any adhesive. I'll show you the window in a minute, but in terms of tools, we're going to use a hammer and a screwdriver to create the outline, a marker to trace that outline. We're going to use our drill to drill a hole in the wall or in the door to be able to stick our jigsaw through. So we're using a Bosch jigsaw, and we're using the T11-8A thin metal small teeth or high teeth count blades. Safety goggles, of course, when we're cutting through the metal, a filer, and then we're going to be painting the raw metal to prevent rust. After that, it's just going to be screwing the window in place, because there's going to be a clamp that goes around the inside of the door to squeeze that window in place and create that water seal. Alright, so we got our window from CRL or CR Lawrence. So let's unbox this and check it out. So on the window itself, it has that rubber gasket or rubber weather seal there. So you don't need any adhesive, which is great. And then this metal clip goes in on the inside of the door to seal in, and it probably screws in between that little slot there. But we have screws in the box, and I'll grab those. Alright, first step, we're going to make the outline on the outside, because you can't use a jigsaw on the inside because of the door window frame here. So we're going to be punching holes with the screwdriver and the hammer, and then we're going to trace the marker on the outside, and we'll make our cut with the jigsaw from the outside of the door. Alright, next step, we have our imprint from the hammer and the screwdriver. Now we're going to take our marker and trace this outline. I forgot to mention, in the tools used, we're going to use masking tape or painter's tape to tape around the cutout here so we don't scratch it when we use the jigsaw on the door. Alright, so we got the tape surrounded. Alright, so we got the tape surrounding the trace of the window. So now we just are making a protective barrier so all of the dust shavings fall into the plastic, so it doesn't go into the door, and then we have raw metal filings that can create rust problems later on. So we block this off to make the cleaning a little bit easier, and now we're going to drill a hole into there and get cutting. Alright, so I'm going to drill a hole. I'm using a 1/8 drill bit, and I'm going to start drill from the bottom because I think it's easier to go up than go down with the drill bit. So. Alright, so we got our hole in the door. Next thing, we're going to take our jigsaw. I tape both sides, this side and the door, obviously, to prevent scratching. So let's get going. Alright, so I'm cutting through pretty good, and it's starting to get a little it's starting to vibrate a lot. So I taped it down a little bit to help secure it, and also when I make the entire cut, it doesn't fall and scratch the door or something like that. So just taping down some strips to keep it in place once the full cut is made. All right, so we have the cutout completed. Now you can see all these metal shavings here. It's focusing. So we need to file these down with a metal filer. And then the reason why I put the plastic up, I don't know if you can see all the loose metal shavings in here. So, you know, it's in your best interest to cover it up so it's not going to land in the cracks of the door or in the framing of the door. And now that it's windy, I want to do my best to get all this out. So I'm going to grab it and flip everything out. I put some tape over the seal here, so when I push the plastic tarp out the window, the metal shavings don't fall into the door crack. So now I'm taking a metal filer and I'm going to file down all these metal shavings, and then we're going to paint it with the Rust-Oleum paint to make sure there's no raw metal exposed so we prevent rust. Taylor's back.
Hey.
And now we are going to test to make sure that the window fits the cutout that we have before we paint it and do any more filing, so we're not creating more work for ourselves. So we also have these suction cup things that we highly recommend when dealing with glass. It just gives you an extra layer of support when carrying it. And we'll add a link to the description below for these. But yeah, let's go make sure it fits. So after measuring, we need to do another cut around here, make it a little deeper, and then we should be good to go.
All right, so we just tested the fit of the window. Had to shave it down a few more times to get the perfect fit, but what can you do? We removed the tape and filed down the edges, and then I already cleaned it with I don't know what's going on back there. I cleaned it with the glass cleaner, and now Kevin is painting on the Rust-Oleum paint to prevent the edges from rusting like we've done in all the window installs.
I love painting. All right. Okay, Taylor's doing one more round of cleaner on the window, and then we are gonna install the window and tighten it up from the inside. All right, so our Rust-Oleum paint is nice and dry. We are ready to install the window, and then we will be screwing it in and tightening it against the door from the inside. As you're installing the window to the door, you know, it would be good to have two people just to make sure that the door is nice, or the window is nice and snug, and then someone can hold it in place when the other person goes and gets the clamp to screw it and make sure it's nice and tight and not going to fall as you're finishing up installation. Okay, so when you screw it in, if you don't have anyone to push against the window, it's going to be sticking out a lot. So Taylor right now is pushing against the window to push against that rubber seal, and then I'm on the inside tightening it in using a lot of force. So you got to be careful not to strip these screws, and you really got to apply pressure when you screw it in. And if you can't see, I got little red marks on my fingers right now from turning so hard, but you want to get it tight against the window. So go ahead, Taylor, you can push. I wish CRL Lawrence would give you, I don't know what they're called, but the star type screws. It would make life a lot easier. All right, here it is. Screws installed. It was a pain in the butt. It was a lot of pressure to get these in. But overall, it looks pretty good. Now Taylor's doing the water test. I'm gonna tighten this up. Shut the T-vent. It's really easy with that knob. There's actually one more screw I gotta do here. Ready? Taylor's doing water test. No water. Taylor, spray it from like the front to the back, just like we're driving. Yeah, right there. We're good. No water. Taylor's doing from the back now. We're good. So Taylor right now is spraying down the van, making sure we're getting all of the metal shavings off. We did, oh shoot.
Oh, good.
So we just sprayed the inside of the van. That's good. But yeah, make sure you spray the entire van down, get all the metal shavings off, so we're preventing rust. Alright guys, so if you like this video and if you found it helpful at all, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more van build episodes. Anything else?
Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next and I do the thumbs up again. Every time. How's the hair?
Wild.
But it looks good. T-vent and all. You guys can do it. Just take your time and make sure you wear protective eyeglasses. Or shin pads, calf pads. Forgot to mention this process took about 2.5 hours, and it's much easier than the other van windows that we installed so far. Overall, we highly recommend getting a T-vent so then you can get more ventilation when you're using your vent fan. Pull it in from the side of the mirror and you can open it up in the rain because it protects it. It comes with the screen too, so it's pretty good.